Hello, good night. Welcome to Legalize this 23rd day of November 2025. And tonight we have as our guest, and he's right here with me, Father Gerard Paul, and hopefully by the end of this program, you would get to know those following this program, who is Father Gerard Paul, getting the story, as we say in Grenada, from the horse's mouth. But before we start the program, I just want to recognize those who sponsor this program and enable us to be on week in, week out, namely Gel Professional Solutions, Inc., Gem FM carrying this program on FM radio out of Canada, and also Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, GTAU.
Attention all workers, your health and safety at work are critical. At Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, we are dedicated to ensuring you have a safe and secure work environment. If you encounter unsafe conditions or are involved in an accident, take immediate actions. Report it to the company, your shop steward, and make sure it reaches your union. Your health and safety is a priority, and a strong union means a strong voice for your rights. Don't wait. Address concerns right away and protect your well-being. For a safer workplace and a better quality of life, stand with the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union. Together, we can create a safer, healthier work environment for everyone.
So good night, Father Gerard Paul.
Yeah, good night, good night. Good night to all our listeners.
Yes.
It's my delight to be on your program.
Thank you so much. It's a name we have been hearing a lot of, and of course, we're going to some of that tonight. I know recently you did a song, and just to get the program going, I just want us to listen to one of the verses, about 2 minutes or so of your song.
The people of Gaza are suffering like no other. We have seen in our lifetime, my dear friends. They are far away, but we have had difficult times in Grenada. Hurricane and all sorts of things, my dear friends. Let us remember how the world came to our help. It is our time to make a voice for them. I'm hearing the cries from a landing chain, where sorrow darkens the sun, as the Israelites drop a bomb again that cut Palestinians down. A mother searching through a rubble pile, no longer able to weep, hoping to discover her buried child. She's not the first, she's the fifth. While the world just looks on in silence, I go preach, in the face of all this violence. I go preach, can't pretend I cannot hear the cry. I go preach, I don't want God to watch me, but I go preach, Oh Gaza, land of anguish, prison of pain. Your tears fall hard down torrential rain. Oh Gaza, and the world look away, turn off the sound, while Zion drum beat and missiles bang. Oh Gaza, cannot just pretend everything is fine. Gaza run me mind, for the Holy Trinity just made the sign. Gaza run me mind, they want me just feed people with horse and wine. No, Gaza run me mind, man tell them to kiss where the sun don't shine. Gaza run me mind.
Yeah, so of course we'll get into the song a bit more as we go on, but I just want to ask you first, if you could just tell us something of your Grenadian, of course, right?
I'm Grenadian.
Right, Grenadian by birth.
Right.
Okay, so if you could just tell us a little about which part of Grenada,
Okay.
your childhood and so on.
Okay.
Yes.
So I grew up in Conference St. Andrews. Conference is between Tivoli and La Poterie. It's a village little known even now because it's a quiet village. Tivoli became very known during the revolution, especially for counter-revolutionary activities. So it was quite known. There were some battles there, and it became quite known. But Conference is the largest of the three villages. In fact, if you put the two villages, La Poterie and Tivoli together, they would not make half of Conference. Conference runs from Pointsville River all the way to Pulse. So, but people call all the area Tivoli. They call the church Tivoli. They call the school Tivoli RC School. Okay. And even the medical center, which was built lower down the road sometime, was renovated, and it didn't last too long. They call it Tivoli Medical Center as well. So the Conference remained a very quiet village. I grew up in the 1970s and 80s. Now, at that time, when every village had a Bajan, a group of Bajans, Conference didn't have a group of Bajans. Okay. Tivoli had one, La Poterie had one, and a fellow from Lower Conference. He was popularly known as Wayward, very known in the village at the time. He had to pass on the bay and to join up with the La Poterie gang because he can't come to Tivoli and Conference to go to La Poterie. When people were gambling and cutting one another belly and heads and so on, that never happened in a Conference. In fact, I was on my farm yesterday, and this gentleman was remarking how quiet this place is, and it remains that way. It's a distinctive village. So we Conference people, we're really shy, quiet people. And I tell people I'm shy, they don't believe because they find I public speak a lot. But in fact, I prefer being quiet and unseen. So a while ago, you were saying that at the end of the program, people want to know who I am. But first of all, I didn't know I was coming here for that. I just came because we talked about a few topics we wanted to talk about. And that's all right. But at the end of the program, you will not necessarily know who I am. You'll get a little bit of who I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I meant more so just, to understand the human being. Yeah. What are influences,
Yeah.
Because as is often said, the child is the father of the man.
Yeah.
So your childhood and your experiences in your early days shape who you are.
Sure.
So that's why I just asked that. At the primary school, you attended Tivoli?
I attended Tivoli RC School and later on SAS. And as you was talking about childhood, I can remark a little bit because I'm the last of 7 children.
Okay.
And when I look at my history, I understand to a great extent even my place in the family being last. My sisters were born in Aruba because my parents went to Aruba in the early days. My sisters came 1, 2, 3, 4, four of them, and then the boys were all born in Grenada. But I being last meant a particular struggle for me. I had to struggle to have a voice. I had to struggle for everything. Mm-hmm. They would always say, when any conversation was taking place in the house, they would say, Jerry, oh, she's stupid mouth. So you have 7 brothers and sisters telling you you're stupid. You have your mother and father telling you you're stupid. But I never internalized that. I never believed that I was stupid, So I was able to fight that, and it put a kind of fighting spirit in me. So I have believed and not boast, but I'm just happy to be able to have my head above water and to speak for my rights and to speak for the rights of others. I think that's very, 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 very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, you went to SAS. I heard you are student leader in SAS.
Yes, I was. I became president of Students' Council in my 4th year in school, and that helped broaden my horizon because we had a National Students' Council in those times. Mm-hmm. And so I got in touch with people like Tally Francis and Roberts Ferguson and Wendy Tima and some of the other leaders of Students' Council because we did meet as presidents of the various students' councils.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was in the period of the 70s.
That was like 1980, I think it was.
Okay.
1980.
So you have been basically a young adult at the time of the revolution.
I was 16 years when the revolution came about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So,
I was actually going to school on that day and found out that nobody was going to school. There was a revolution.
okay.
I went back home, changed my clothes, and joined the gang. I spent 2 weeks out of school,
Okay.
the insecurity at the airport, whatever, and then I was out of
Okay.
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess as a young person, that would have been one of the
Impactful.
very
Huge. I saw a video, a movie on the revolution, and it's amazing. It was shown by an African woman, a Nigerian woman, at T. Marshall College hall we used there last Saturday. I think it was last Saturday, and I was quite impressed. And it brought back great memories. Great memories about the people working together, people uniting, and people who have a sense of discovering themselves, discovering their talents, discovering their worth as a nation, as a people, and being very earthy. People of all walks of life. People learn to read and write. I mean, I taught in the CPE too, the Center for Popular Education, and it was fascinating to see people who can't learn, who can't read and write, become able to read and write. It was a real experience.
And I take it that the tragic demise will also have impacted on you.
Oh yes, it impacted on me. It impacted on me to this day. I still don't really haven't gotten interested in local politics.
Mm-hmm.
I have stayed close to international politics, and it's a bad thing because I don't know what is going on often. And also, I live for myself the last 32 years. So when you come home and you miss the news, nobody to tell you what's the latest. So I'm kind of lost in that way, but I try to keep up a bit, Yeah.
Okay, so you attended SAS, the Dangerous Anglican Secondary School, but you became a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
How we move from there to there?
Well, it was not moving from there to there. I was always Catholic.
Always Catholic.
The SAS was Anglican, is Anglican, and it was just convenient to go to a secondary school. Remember, there were not many secondary schools as we have, as the revolution has brought us. And I went to school paying school fee until the revolution came in Form 3. So it was not a big movement. In fact, excuse me, I don't know what influence that. I started recently thinking that priests coming to our homes may have influenced me. There was Father Pike and Father Boring, white guys. I remember them as a little boy coming home. But again, I don't know what influence, because I know the profound influence that caused me to become a priest. I did not become a priest from the strictly religious basis. I came a priest from a more social basis and social justice basis. I saw the priesthood as a means to work among my people, to better the lives of my people. I always thought, as a child, I always thought, I'd be in the rich man on the hill with my family and everything going well for me, and everybody else just struggling to make ends meet. And I always felt I don't want to be that way. So I was prepared to make this sacrifice, because I grew up in a family with 7, as I told you, and we had a big sister who was outside sister, who was very close to the family. So really 8 of us. And to think that I could become a priest and don't have a family was a real great challenge, really good challenge. Yeah.
So if I gather what you're saying, that was that desire to help people.
Yeah.
That is what motivated you.
That's very
okay. So I guess it's pretty easy to understand how you would move from there with that motivation. I guess you would say it is the same motivation that operates today, and have you been an advocate for?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, joining the seminary was the most joyful and heart-rending experience. The seminary, for example, I learned the important position that social justice plays in the life of the church. We have a whole very big, thick book, thicker than the Bible, we often call it the Bible of social justice. And it has writings of the popes, archbishops, cardinals, and so on. Great fellows, really, who talked about social justice. In 1891, I think it was Leo the 11th, Leo something, started his fight for social justice in Europe. And it was the time of the Industrial Revolution when children were sent up to the chimneys to clean the chimneys, and they would fall in the chimneys and die there, and that was the end of them. Nobody cared about them. And so his work was called Rerum Novarum, and it was on the condition of workers, the working class people in Europe. So here is a pope fighting for the working class. But we do not normally align the priesthood with work like that. We think about the priesthood as being on the altar with a white gown, which I never idealized myself like that. I never kind of like the altar and love to be up there. People will tell you that I go to church in the main church in St. David's, and from St. David's to Corinth, which is about 6 minutes drive. They would have never seen me drive down there with my white gown. I always take it out because I just want to be somebody else, another person in the community.
So your period in the seminary was when?
Was 86 to 92, 6 years.
86 to 92.
Yeah.
And the seminary was in?
The seminary was in Trinidad. It's a regional seminary. In those days, you had a lot of guys. Since then, many guys have not joined the priesthood. But you had a lot of guys then. We were always like 40-something. The house was like full house, 40-something people. It was a marvelous experience mixing with guys from all the way Trinidad to the south, Suriname to the south, to Antigua. In fact, I entered with a guy from Barbados, people of different culture down because St. Lucia, St. Vince, guy. So it was really good.
Okay, we were speaking before about the structure of the church and the priesthood, and in terms of you deciding to become a priest, and I know there are different orders in the priesthood. Which order do you belong to?
But prior to becoming a priest, I didn't even know there were different orders. I just wanted to be a priest, amen. And I went to the bishop at the time, Sidney Charles. In fact, I wrote him a very serious letter at a time when he was not taking anybody in the seminary. Nobody was being sent to the seminary. I wrote him, he replied to me, and he put me attached to Sister Gertrude Tankai, a Clooney sister at Granville, to be able to give me some coaching and some sort of help and so on, some preparation. I think she's still working in the Philippines now, but anyhow, I wasn't aware of orders. So once I went to the bishop, I became a secular priest, which is what I prefer to be. A secular priest is a diocesan priest, a priest primarily ordained for the diocese. He may go away to do ministry away and so on, but primarily they ordained for the office, for the diocese. A secular priest is a priest that is, a religious priest, as against a secular priest, and I will explain, is one who belongs to an order, like the Dominican order, the Celtigan order. You had English Dominicans, you had Irish Dominicans. There was a division between the English and the Irish people, and the IRA and the struggles there in the 60s and 70s, I think early 80s as well. You have the missionaries of St. Paul, which is some African priests we have. So you have various missionary orders. But what differentiated that is that we secular priests, we do not take a vow of poverty. And poverty doesn't mean being poor. It just simply means that the religious priest is not supposed to own things. Whatever he owns is owned in common in community, and the community is supposed to take care of you. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. So your health, your whatever is taken care of. if somebody leaves a house for you, they don't leave it for you personally, but it goes to the community. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. Whatever else takes place, I'm not sure, but that's what happened. But the secular priest can own his house, his land, his whatever. You know?
Okay. Yeah. So, am I to understand that most priests based in Grenada now are secular priests?
No, most are not secular priests because we have just about 4 so secular priests in Grenada.
Okay.
The vast majority are Africans.
Or
They may be secular priests. They may be sent by the bishop themselves.
okay.
So in that case, they are secular. But you have a couple, 1 or 2 missionaries of St. Paul, and you have Kiltigans, that is the Irish guys,
Okay.
and then you have a few Dominicans. They are, you have a few Dominicans there. Some of them are from Grenada as well. Yeah.
Right. But in terms of the overall structure, they all fall under the leadership of the Pope. That's correct?
Sure, that's good.
Okay.
But the secular priests, like myself, the diocesan priests, the priest who belongs, don't be misled by the word secular.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything different.
Yeah, I understand.
All it means is that you are under the bishop's jurisdiction. Whereas the priests who belong to the order, even if they come to Grenada,
Yeah.
the leader, spiritual leader of the order is the
It's the order. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So you just explain to me, because I have someone in terms of the leadership of the Pope. I think we were just speaking briefly before in terms of the influence of canon law. I know that
I know it's a bad time to leave, but my audience would excuse me. I'm dying here. I have to make a little pizza. You know, I've been drinking a lot of water.
so you'll excuse us just for a minute and we'll continue in a minute. I don't know if Bentley, you can just play that second part of the song, Gaza.
On my mind, on my mind, on my mind. Gaza on my mind, Gaza on my mind. Gaza on my mind. Yes, my robe was always spotless and white as I spoke of love and peace. But how could I sleep peacefully at night when genocide would not cease? Tried to silence me cause I spoke the truth. Them say that I lost my way, but I see Christ in the face of the youth. The IDF kill each day. When the church would not take a firm stance, I will preach, I will preach. Though they tell me that's just defiance, I will preach, I will preach. I'm taking affirmative action. I go preach, I go preach. Otherwise, hell go be my potion. I go preach, I go preach. Oh Gaza, oh Gaza. They saying you beheading babies. Just another twisted lying refrain. Oh Gaza, oh Gaza. So they could bomb innocent people and then say that it's self-defense again. Oh Gaza, oh Gaza. Cannot stay quiet while they choke mankind. Gaza run me mind, while leaders them dumb and morally blind. Gaza run me mind, as they murder on Gaza youths all the time. Gaza run me mind, I can stay silent like those without spine. Gaza run me mind. Gaza on me mind. Gaza on me mind.
Yes, and of course, we invite those viewing to post any comments in the chat. You are invited to do that, and we will respond to those as the program unfolds. So, as a secular priest, I guess you both being a secular priest and your personality, your background, which we just got into, I guess you have a particular point of view on the role of local culture.
Yeah.
And how your, if I may say, your mission, your practice as a priest should align to local culture or not align to local culture. So, for example, I know we have this calypso, we'll come to it. At one time people used to say calypso is a devil thing.
Yeah.
And I know I'm also told that you play jab. And at one time again, people call it a devil thing, the devil was. And for example, I can see your hairstyle with your plaits, and you have your stuff. How do you see, because I'm certain you have come across and you know and you are aware that there are people who say that, listen, a priest should not be involved in these things, and in particular Catholics. But how you respond to that?
Well, the thing is the thing that makes me laugh a lot. You understand? I don't bother with what people's negativity about it at all. I don't know where to begin, but I have to say that religion and culture cannot be separated. They can't be separated. The Jewish people, their culture, their religion was part and parcel of the culture. You can't separate religion and culture. So, for example, when they do not eat shellfish, conch and crab and so on, and they call it unclean, that's a cultural norm for them. Mm-hmm. So they see it as God telling them, don't eat it. But we Catholics, we Christians, we are free to eat it. We don't have a problem with that. But for them, that's God's instructions, because the culture can't be separated. They call it unclean, and we think they mean dirty. They don't mean dirty. They just mean it's unnatural, because all animals, generally speaking, animals have their bone inside and the flesh outside. The conch has its bone outside, or the crayfish has its bone outside and its flesh inside. For them, this is a strange, unnatural animal, so they don't eat it. Mm-hmm. So you talk about like playing mass and so on. People refute that kind of behavior, despise that kind of behavior. Well, I have experienced it, that just moving locally with local people despise that. When I went to St. David's, the parish of St. David's that composes of 15 secular villages, I visited every house in those villages. In the first few months, every living house. It didn't matter if you were Catholic, Berean, Pentecostal, Adventist. I visited every house. Mm-hmm. But the priest does not normally do that. The priest is being seen as somebody of stature and class in the community. And he doesn't drink a rum in the rum shop. But he drinks whiskey and drunk like I don't know what sometimes when he comes out to say mass. But he looks perfectly well, and that is quite accepted in the culture. But a priest who walks the street, like I walk the street with the sandals, I remember for many years, alpagat from Trinidad, and my jeans and my jersey, people see that is not priest, so he's priest, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Until usually when they get close to me and they realize I'm a real human being, they get to love it, generally speaking. But that's the kind of thing. Years ago, there was a guy called Peace and Love in Grenville who played mass. Mm-hmm. Jab everything with his gong on him. He was quite accepted. And there is a saying that stretches back all the way to that says, if the priest could play Who Is Me? I think there was a song saying that.
Actually, from 67 or 68.
Right.
A priest in Trinidad had played.
Right.
And Cypher was a California.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So he was quite accepted. But I remember
it was a big story.
Right.
It shocked the system.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know how those things are. What is a revolutionary shocking
in
act
one
now.
era. Yeah,
It's something is
it's quite normalized. I used to play carnival. I mean, in the early 2000s here, in the 90s here, I went back to Trinidad every year and played carnival. In Trinidad, we played carnival. Nuns played carnival. I don't know about now, but back then, I'm telling you what I witnessed. Nuns played carnival, played jab jab. Priests played jab jab. And I can call some priests names. Father Joseph, for example, taught me at the seminar. Father Henry Charles, who deceased, a great man. May his soul rest in peace. He played jab jab. A lot of fellow. There was one of the guys, I'm trying to remember his name, I'm seeing his face very clearly now, but he was charismatic, very conservative part of the church he belongs to. He was playing carnival too. We all played carnival, seminarians, we played jab jab all the time. Nobody even point you. Nobody even bother about you. You understand? But in Grenada, I guess it's different and people. But again, it's amazing because even in Grenada here, there is a white priest who plays carnival, plays jab jab. And he plays jab jab with local people in Spanish and people say nothing. But for me, it's like, oh, he's black. He's not supposed to be in that. You know, it's strange. I mean, oh, they like the white man plays. And I hear nobody commenting negatively. And I have seen in Grenada, even people who belong to Trinidad and they belong to the hierarchy of the church, who know about Trinidadians playing priests. But in Grenada, they look at Jerry as well, you know, Jerry's a different kind of fella, man. So, you know, you could kind of expect that he's, you know, which is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, because they know and accept. In the seminary in Trinidad, we actually had a calypso tent every year where I sang a calypso and came second sometime ago in my second year. Vatican, you have a right. It is your business to unite. But listen to what the people say. You must give us some money. You know, I composed that in the toilet. I got my inspiration. I wrote my first verse and my chorus in the toilet. And then I literally ran out from the toilet and get paper because when you get inspiration, you need to stay there. Inspiration comes from heaven. It comes in a moment in time. And you change your atmosphere and it's gone. You know, so there's nothing new about priests playing carnival and so on.
And nothing new about you singing calypso too.
Nothing new about me singing calypso. I sang that calypso something years ago. And plenty of people came out to our show. Our show was held in the seminary yard. Plenty of people, the place was overflowing with people. And the bishop in Grenada today knows that. So to come and pretend that, oh, Jerry's a strange fella playing carnival and you know, it's
really, as you see, it's an issue of taking ownership of our culture.
Of course.
And recognizing that you are Grenadian, you are a product of this society, and that our society, our civilization, as some people say, really is fit to stand with any other.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've been playing carnival all my life. I played the first carnival I played was a little boy. I think I was about 8 years. I put on a dress of my own and I went and played carnival. And I made 9 cents. 9 cents was a lot of money in those days. Yeah. So, and you know, I remember the teacher, I played jab jab. At that time, jab jab was banned in Grenada for a while. I don't remember if it was under the, I think it was under the revolution. Jab was banned for a while.
No, actually, jab was banned around 74, 75, 75, 76.
Yeah.
And there was basically a year where, as it was said, the government at the time, Eric Gary, government led by him, basically banned jab.
Yeah.
And believe me, there has never been, well, I don't know for now, but back then, there were literally thousands of young people, including Gary's own daughter, is one of his daughters, who actually played jab at the time. That would have been 1975 or 1976.
My memory serves, let me cut you, my memory serves perfectly well.
Yes.
I taught at Tivoli Alice School between 1984 and 1986.
Right.
86, I went to study.
Yeah.
So it was between that time space I played jab.
Right.
So I played, well, you're right. Because 84 would have been, the revolution would have been devised already.
Yes.
So between 84 and 86, between August 84, but September 84 and the end of the school year, which was like August, July 86, that's when I went to seminary 86. So that's when I played jab. It was only 3 of us, 2 teachers and another fellow down the road. Yeah. And people left all the mass in Tivoli Junction, the Wild Indian and the Shotney and all the masses that people want to see, and just crowded around us for the jab. You know, and they say, why jab? Why? Oh, you kind of listen, brother, you know why anything.
Right. So for example, I would have played jab 75,
right,
76, 77, 78.
Right.
And that's why I say jab. I say it to many young people. Jab is really an expression of rebellion, an expression of resistance, because that is what it really was about in those years.
Sure. And it remains that, because people don't understand the reason why people play jab, and even people who play jab don't even understand the historical foundation of jab. The slaves actually played jab, and that's why you see the jab drag the chain, because they were literally, they came into the islands, here into the Caribbean, in chains, and then the jab chain is never joined. It's broken. It has an end and a second end, which means that we have been broken from slavery. Even the snakes, we don't understand the snakes, because the white people, the planters and so on, use the stakes to torture slaves. And again, they're showing you that we're not afraid of the slaves. Again, we're not afraid of the chain again. And it's a whole story behind it.
Yes. So as we all know, or at least those who have been following, your suspension from the priesthood came in the midst of your strong advocacy on the issue of Gaza and the issue of the war in Gaza, to put it briefly. So much so, and I don't know if that is really correct, some people take the view that the reason why you have been suspended is because of your advocacy. I'm not sure if that is so, and it's not something I leave ask you to comment on unless you want to do, because I know many times something may happen at a particular point in time, right? And social scientists will say that was the occasion, or they may say that was the trigger, but not really the cause of that. So I just want you to explain to us, and I think you have given some background to it, your passion and the stance, which some call it rebellious, others call it courageous. Your stance on the issue of Gaza and your strong advocacy on behalf of the people of Gaza.
Gaza is a story like no other. We have never seen genocide before our eyes. It's been played out in mainly social media, because the major news networks don't carry it. The BBC, the NBC, the ABC, the CNN, they don't carry those stories at all, and they carry very little. In fact, BBC did a documentary on Gaza, and when they saw what it was, they refused to air it, because it was just telling of the evil of the Israelites, and the British government supporting it, the French government supporting with the arms, the Dutch government supporting, the United States government supporting with the arms and so on. So they did not air it, and it was a lot of protest by people who knew of the documentary. They want to see the documentary, and those BBC correspondents who participated and worked so hard and even endangered their lives and endangered the lives of Gazans. They forced the story to come out, and the story in fact, come out. But I mean, in the first months of Gaza, I found it difficult even to eat food because babies were being killed. And it continues. The genocide hasn't ended. Earlier on, you said the war in Gaza. And I want to correct you, there isn't a war in Gaza.
Okay.
When there is a war, you have two established armies. Even if it's a guerrilla army, they have arms, ammunition of some level, and they're fighting against. But you're talking about fellows flying in planes and throwing 5,000 pound bombs upon houses, upon tents, school, mosque, churches, because Jesus preached in Gaza. I think many of us Christians don't even know that. Jesus was a brown man, he wasn't a black man. People don't know that because Jesus is always portrayed as a white man. Jesus was a brown man. The Bible described him as being bronze. You know, the color of his skin as being bronze. And preaching Gaza. And Gaza has the oldest church in history. How you call it again? I just forgot the name of the church. And that too was bombed and so on. You know, so that, I mean, I have been for the last 8 months. Every week I do an article in the New Today on Gaza. Gaza is part and parcel of my soul. Wherever people are suffering in this world, I think it ought to be part and parcel of the soul and the suffering of anybody who is genuinely called a Christian. Jesus says, not Jesus, St. Paul says, rejoice in the Lord always. I don't remember the exact text now. Rejoice in the Lord always. Weep with those who weep. So he talks about joy one moment. Next thing he talks about weep. And he says about weeping with those who are suffering. Empathize, live with those, experience, walk through what people are feeling in this world. And many, many people are suffering in this world. And many, many people. Now we church people and we hierarchy have become completely oblivious to that. We shield ourselves. We don't look at those stories. We pretend that those things are not happening. You know, the church in 1971 met in a synod of all the bishops of the world. And you know what all the bishops of the world said? All the bishops of the world said, the declaration, the single most important sentence says that the work for justice is constitutive of the preaching of the gospel. In other words, it's an integral part of the gospel. You cannot rightly say you preach in the gospel and you don't care about issues of justice. The church says that. But do we care about issues of justice? We're eating, we're drinking, and the poor people that come to collect money for us, that make sure they put away their $5 every day, they don't have nothing to eat, and we don't care about that. We don't care about that. It says we are constituted. As a matter of fact, long before that, the Bible itself, the Old Testament in particular, stands on two pillars, Mishpat and Tzedakah, justice and mercy. You know, Amos chapter 5, verses 21 to 24 says, you know, I am tired of your festivals. I am tired of your new moons. I am tired of all the big celebrations and your assemblies and your strumming of tunes and your drums and your noise that you make in the church. And the text says, let justice flow in the land like an ever-flowing river. Justice is important. That's the business of the church. But yet we have neglected justice. In slavery, the church participated in slavery. The church neglected justice. In the civil rights movement in the United States, Martin Luther King was not a Catholic. You know, the church did not participate. The church did not participate in slavery in the Americas. Well, it participated. It was part and parcel. It said to us, slaves, obey your master. Mm-hmm. He didn't tell us to revolt. He did not stand. They're very exceptional case of Las Casas, who was called the savior of the Indians, and the stories that he picked up an Indian girlfriend, so he was feeling sorry about how they were enslaving the Indians. He said, go to Africa and take them. And the church, the halls of the universities were at the time denying the humanity of Africans. They were arguing in the halls of the universities, does a black person have a slave? Does that black person have a soul? And even while they were doing that here in the Caribbean, priests were not baptizing Black people for a time because Black people don't have soul. But to baptize them is to bring them up to the level of humanity in their estimation. And to bring them up to the level of humanity, then you can't treat them the way you treated them. So, you know, they had that problem until, well, they just glossed over it and baptized Black people. And things. So back to your question. Your question is Gaza, right? So I think any sane person in the world would feel it for Gaza. So I spoke about the situation in Gaza at the Crazy Mass. The Crazy Mass is a mass that is held once a year, and it is the mass where the entire church represented turns out of the cathedral, and all priests come, and the priests show their allegiance to the bishop. There is a format in which the bishop says certain things, the priest answer, and it's only the priest, not the people. And the priests pledge obedience to him and his successors and so on. Now, this is the high point of the power of the leader of the church, the bishop. That day signifies the high point of his power, where everything is subjected to him. And so that was the day when I spoke about the situation in Gaza. I had not heard the church say anything. I did not hear the church say anything about Gaza, you know. And then we were hearing that the Pope was calling the Church of the Nativity, I think it was, in Gaza every day and in solidarity with them. But Francis is a great Pope in my view, in many ways. But I did not hear Francis's voice publicly, and the impact. The church has lost its public appeal and its moral appeal on issues that are happening every day. There was a time when a bishop would speak about some moral situation in the country, and when he speaks, everybody listens. You don't hear the bishop talk about any moral issue again. You don't hear them talk. The present one I have never heard him. At least I never heard him talking about Gaza big and bold, where you have a genocide taking place in front of our eyes every day. So that's what I spoke about, and I said that was wrong, and the church should speak. You know what? They say I was suspended for that, and I agree with you. I was not suspended for that. It was just the opportunity to suspend me because I have been a troublemaker for too long, because I stand for what is right. And if you are lying to me, I'm going to tell you you're lying to me. I don't care if you're the bishop or you're the pope. I'm going to tell you, don't lie to me. You know, so those are the kind of issues I've been standing for the longest while. You know, a lot of terrible things take place in the church, like any other institution. You know, I remember in about 2010, I started preaching about the sexual crisis in the church, the sodomization of children, girls, and all sorts of things. Priest was involved, and people in the church were saying, well, you know, he wants to leave. And he's trying to make an excuse to leave. Really, what he wants to do is to live. You know, 13 years afterwards, I remained in the church. I remained a priest. I remained committed to the task that I committed myself 39 years plus ago. And I've been a priest for 32 years. And you know, that I remain committed. But the point is that injustice is wrong. And it should not be perpetuated by the church. So, you know, we are human beings and we make ugly mistakes, but the problem we have is that we always cover it. We never say sorry. In 2005, Pope John Paul was going to the United States, and I was visiting the United States, and the people begged that man to say sorry, to meet with some victims of the sexual crisis. And the man did not meet. John Paul cannot be my Pope. He's not my Pope from my heart. Although he's a great man in some sense, he wrote a document called Human Work. I did my thesis on it, but I cannot agree with just injustice being done, and we sitting idly by and we pretending that they are not. We would make all general things. I confess to Almighty God and to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have sinned, but we never talk about the particular sins that we have done against humanity as a Christian community.
Yes. Okay. Let me just ask, just to as a side, but I'll come back to to that, because you mentioned Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
that he was not a Catholic. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's your attitude to other religious uh, persuasions?
Well, I'm very friendly with non-Catholics, and I think we all do the same good thing. We shouldn't be fighting against each other. NNP is fighting against NDC. The PNM is fighting against the Jamaica Labour Party, and it's just fight. We Christians should be not. As a matter of fact, in the 1960s, there emerged in the church what you call the ecumenical movement, a movement to unite Christians and to realize there are positive things that we can do and we should do, and together to better a society. We have differing doctrines and so on. We respect each other and so on. That was a very, very, very big movement to put that. As a matter of fact, at seminary, I did a course. It was only 1 year. The course was called Comparative Religion. And we visited the Hindu temple and the Muslim mosque and different things of that sort. And it came to a deeper appreciation that there are different people in different worlds doing a different thing, no less than us. So the primacy, the usual argument about the church is primary and we are the real Christians. I don't believe that. Many priests don't believe that. They won't say it publicly. But that doesn't really make no sense. I often say to people, if you live in the Soviet Union, you might probably never heard about Christianity. If you live in the heart of India, all you would know is Hinduism. And would God favor me more because I happen to live here than the person who remains, was not transported to the Caribbean, is in part of Africa, where African spirituality is big? I don't think we have any advantage. That God moves among his people and he does this thing. Christ is a cosmic Christ. Christ is not just related to the Christians, the so-called Christians, you know. So I respect deeply. I go to any and every church. I go to a funeral or whatever. I pray there as well, because God prayers are not heard more in my church than is heard somewhere else, you know. So I as a matter of fact, I have a very good relationship. When the first project we were doing in St. David's was building up the road to Corinth, probably 400 feet up to the church, you know. It was very bad, muddy, cliffy road, and on a wet day, people couldn't go up there. And we had Pentecostals who came out every Saturday. The Adventists just couldn't come out because it was their thing, you know. And I go back to St. David's all the time, and people would tell me, St. David's miss you. And they are Pentecostals, then they are Bereans, and they are Adventists, and people of that sort. You know, so we're all one. I remember the days when we Catholics would not sing an Adventist hymn, and they vice versa. You know, so ecumenism is taking place among the people. The people are singing at a funeral by the side of the grave, and they're singing all the same tunes. You know what I mean? And what is in the tune? The theology. And so, you know, the Adventists and the Catholic and the Pentecostal, we all live basically in the same thing, the most fundamental thing. And the major religions, the same thing. We all believe in God. All the major beliefs are the same thing. We all believe in God. We all believe in a final day of judgment. We believe that we will be redeemed. And so on. At the end of the day, it comes up to the same thing. You know, so geography doesn't matter. Even the atheists, I don't have a problem with them. Because you know, one of St. John's letters says, God is love, and he who lives in love lives in God, and God lives in you. So religion is just an expression, and it's important to be a church person. I've been fed by religion and so on. I think very good in many ways and so on. But at the same time, if you know religion at all, it doesn't mean to say that you have no spirituality. The more important thing is spirituality, not religion.
Right. So for you then, I just want to come back now to Gaza. As far as you are concerned, it was nothing to do with religion. The people who are victims of the genocide were human beings.
Yeah.
children of God, like everyone else,
Yeah.
and that is what motivated.
Yeah, I think it has nothing to do with that. Remember, I was saying, and I didn't complete the point, that this is the most powerful moment for the leader of the church. And it's like it was likely felt that I stole that moment, because when I spoke, the church really, really clapped hard. And that moment, I feel it was a moment that caused any autocrat to feel threatened, to feel well, somebody's usurping what they have. That's where the line is drawn. So it's about power. Even the mass is about power, you know. You ordinary fella, you can't say mass. And the whole people of God can't say mass. You have to be ordained a priest. So that one priest controls the show. You understand? So it's about power. It's about power.
Yes, the spread of the evangelical churches, you think it has to do anything with the democratization of that process? Ordinary people now are able to rise up.
But again, control continues. Institutions are like that. They control. At the end of the day, control. I mean, look at the Democratic Party in the United States. Those fellas in the Moab just walk through and they say, Biden, Obama, and them just say Biden. That's the end of you. You know what I'm saying? And you put Kamala Harris and you put, it's all about power. Who has power, who does not have power. Institutions, they do not, in general, do not deal well with power at all. And whenever they feel threatened, they will use their power, So power, you hear things like, how could Cherry speak against this or speak against that? The real thing is laughable. I used to look at EWTN, the Catholic station in the United States, which are not priests in Grenada, look at me. And there were two theologians, a priest theologian and a layman theologian. Every single night they were on EWTN, which has a wide reach, a wide reach. They were there every single night criticizing Pope Francis and talking about he should resign and this, that. I mean, they were criticizing just everything Francis did.
Over which issue?
Over issues like when he talked about blessing same-sex couples and very various issues. They don't come to mind immediately, but they were very critical. And the remaining church, nobody interfered them. The Pope don't interfere them. Nothing interfere them. So I just said the church should be speaking out about that issue. And you're going to tell me you're going to suspend me indefinitely for that? This is a big deal.
Okay, so how would you respond to those who say, even those who admire your courage and your outspokenness, those who say that at certain levels, for example, the level of the Pope and at other levels, there is something called diplomacy. And they have to use different tools and different methods of engaging and communicating than, for example, yourself.
Oh, you mean that they be more mild and more diplomatic in their communication?
Operate more behind the scenes and so on.
Well, yes, I understand that you can do that, and that may be necessary at times, because sometimes you're negotiating with your enemy while you're against your enemy. So there's things that you don't say that happen in politics every day. But I think some things demand a voice. Yeah, and a voice of the highest level.
Right. So I'm just trying to get whether the real issue is, even if somebody is at a particular level, has to employ tools of diplomacy. That's one thing, but it's a separate issue when, as you believe, that they seek to silence those who are at another level and seek to express freely their views.
In the Gaza again, but I want to pee. I don't know what happened to me.
Bentley, if we can just continue with the other part of the song, and we can even. Sorry, my guests have some issues, some personal issues that he has to exit himself ever so often.
In shelters they are hiding underground from bombs that split the night sky. With every scream and every sorrowed song, Annette's little baby died. Reporters gone, even the aid men too. They just target everyone as they kill the truth with a sniper's view. The lions say justice done. When the facts are drunk by greedy men, I go preach, and their spin come faster than CNN. I go preach, 10,000 bishops would say otherwise. I go preach, try to cut this black fella down to size. I go preach, oh Gaza, as Israel repeatedly bleed the land. Western leaders toast with blood-stained hands. Oh Gaza, it's a land where dreams born and quickly die. When you feed on dust, you cannot try. Oh Gaza, don't care if a bishop complain and whine. Gaza run me mind. Take the pulpit away, mine I will find. Gaza run me mind. When they say come on man, you out of line. Gaza run me mind. Tell them they could kiss their holy behind. Gaza run me mind. Gaza run me mind. Gaza run me mind. Gaza run me mind.
Yes, and I just want to take the opportunity one time to once again recognize those who sponsor this program. Jail Professional Solutions, Inc., Gem FM carrying this program on FM radio out in Canada, and also Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, GTAU.
Attention all workers, your health and safety at work are critical. At Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, we are dedicated to ensuring you have a safe and secure work environment. If you encounter unsafe conditions or are involved in an accident, take immediate actions. Report it to the company, your shop steward, and make sure it reaches your union. Your health and safety is a priority, and a strong union means a strong voice for your rights. Don't wait. Address concerns right away and protect your well-being. For a safer workplace and a better quality of life, stand with the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union. Together, we can create a safer, healthier work environment for everyone.
Yes, so if we just go back again, I was just speaking about your comment on to those who say that even those who admire you and those who would encourage you, as one person there, if I may just read a comment, Father Paul is an original, and I encourage him to remain true to his authenticity. He's a man of integrity. So even those who admire in that way, they may still see that there is a role in particular for at a senior level.
Level be above mine.
Yes.
Okay.
For like the Pope or those type of officials. They may have to employ diplomacy, work behind the scenes. It's not always possible to see what efforts they are making. I'm just saying that because I've heard that comment, and that there is a role for that. What will be your response to that?
So I agree there is a role for diplomacy, and as I said earlier on, sometimes you are engaging with the same people. You're actually having talks with the same people that you disagree with, and that you're opposing and that you're encouraging to change. So there is a role, but I think there is a lot of hiding behind the garb at the same time.
Right. There's a thin line between
Yes.
that and also
hiding behind the garb.
okay.
I cannot understand. Now, one bishop came to me and he pretended he was doing a friendly visit, and he just wanted to know how I was going and this, that, and the other. And he wanted to say he was paying a friendly visit. And he listened to me, and then he came out very strongly opposing me. It's basically he's saying that you are just a priest. You cannot say something contrary to what a bishop would say. And we bishops in the Caribbean, we're united. You understand? The present bishop told me many years ago when Vincent Darius was ordained and Gabriel Marsden was ordained, St. Lucia, St. Vincent is a St. Lucian, Dominica is a St. Lucian. He told me that those guys protect each other. They protect each other. He told me that they were like a club. And they would actually identify, he told me that they would actually identify someone who is a threat to the incoming bishop. You know, with somebody like me who's outspoken or something like that, seen as a threat, you'd identify, and they will find ways to curb that threat. You know, so there's a lot of things like that. So, you know, you don't, you know, that particular bishop told me why I don't speak about Haiti. You know, well, I can't speak about everything, and I can't speak to every situation. But there was a situation, or there is a situation that, in my view, is beyond all other human rights situations in the world. You're talking about trying to move 2 million people from where they live. You're talking about 100 years of genocide. You're talking about 545 villages destroyed in 1948 when Israel decided to become a nation. They declared themselves a nation. And when the United Nations said X amount of percentage, I think about 50 or 45% should belong to them. You keep on grabbing these people land, grabbing these people land. You grab it in 1967, you grab it in 1973, you're grabbing it again, and you're just pushing the people, you know? An owl called Trump decides from nowhere, I'm going to make the Riviera of Gaza. We're going to take the people land from them. We're going to chase them into Egypt. We're going to chase them into Jordan. I mean, that kind of blatant evil we are seeing in our lives, and we won't speak about it. Something is wrong. The church has lost its moral rectitude. The church doesn't even have ability to speak about the evils of the world. But they would tell you you're fornicating, though. A little personal thing and make you feel bad, you adulterer, and you this and you that. But the big, huge evils of the world, we do not speak to power, because we too are in power, and we are in cohort with power. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yes, yes. Someone sent me a question. Let me see. How would Father Paul respond to the view? Because, let me get my glasses, please. Because the church proclaims it to be the punitive God, the church finds itself participating either actively or silently in the world's culture of death rather than uncompromisingly opposing such culture. I don't know if you get a point.
Yeah, I get a point. This is a very interesting point, and something that I cannot say I ever reflected on. It's very, very interesting, because so the church, that person is saying, participates in a culture of death. I think that is very, very interesting. Maybe that's all I can say about it. I have not quite reflected. But what the church does is that.
But you did say that earlier that you said it was one of the saints said that God is love.
Yeah, St. John says that.
St. John, yes, he said God is
in
love.
one of his letters, I don't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God is love, and whoever lives in love lives in God, and God lives in. And I add, even if that was not aware of God, the God we're talking about, you know, even if you're not aware. Yeah.
But I guess this person is saying that overall, the general message or the core message of the church is that there's a punitive God. He punishes you, sits by, waits by to punish you if you falter, you do wrong.
We largely claim that that is not so. Again, but that's why I keep on saying what that person is saying is deeply interesting, and I really need some time to reflect on it to be able to express views on it. But that is extremely interesting position that a person is putting forward. You know so in other words, we see suffering as normal, like suffering, but the church would argue that that's not its position. The Old Testament put forward a punitive God a lot, but the Old Testament also shows an extremely compassionate God. But the two sides are there. You see, there is no one. The traditions are weaving a whole lot of tradition. I mean, you even take the Genesis story. Genesis 1 tells us about a creation story. Genesis 2 also tells us a creation story that doesn't hold the same pattern of Genesis 1. So you find in Genesis the story of was it Abraham? I think it was Abraham. Yeah, was it Abraham? Where a very compassionate God is presented. Who the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. That I have heard the outcry of the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and the evil that is being committed therein and so on. And God himself come to the scene. I have come to see myself. I come to verify the truth. And Abraham is down there appealing to God. If there are 50, will you save the city? If there are 40, will you save it? 30, 11, 20, 10. He goes all the way down to 10. And God says he uses it. So that's a compassionate God. So that both, but I agree. The New Testament is a more compassion, and the church in the early age was more punitive, but it's more seen, more speaks of a compassionate God. But we are a piece of compassion ourselves. On Mercy Sunday, you come to my church and suspend me. You have not spoken to me. You go after the incident at the cathedral. I thought I'd done, I say what I had to say. He said what he had to say. And I'd done. Next day, the man gone, and the next day, he said, I don't deserve to be appreciated. This is a man who protests against the Pope's appointment of a bishop in Trinidad after a pantheon. A white man from the States was saying, I don't remember the man's name, and I've had audiences with the man, I just don't remember his name. He protests. He revealed to me in those discussions that was held during the time that he went to the newspaper. But now he's making a big fuss. Oh, this thing's so all over the world. He went to the newspaper to make his point. On the day of the man's ordination, he did not join the procession. He came from a back door. He revealed all those to me. You understand? So you're a big heavyweight man. You could express yourself. Jerry is nobody, you don't express yourself. So I'm demonized just for saying something very ordinary. Basically, what I said is all very ordinary. I'm demonized for that. That's all right. That's what we do. It really doesn't matter, Guys don't understand that these things don't matter to me. You understand? Everything works together for good for those who love God. So you could do me what you want. You could kill me if you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've said all my life. The United States Army could kill me. In a minute, they could send a drone and knock at my house. But what they can't do, they can't change a heart on that mind. They can't. Never. Nobody controls that. Nobody controls that.
Okay. We have a local issue now, and I know you have also been doing some advocacy on that. Namely, the request from the Trump administration to place military-grade equipment at the Morris Bishop International Airport. I don't know if we can just go into your your point of view on that, and again, why you take the position that you take, A, and B, why you publicly take the position that you take.
Okay, so I was asked to speak on the Bob report. I didn't even understand the full nature until I got this one. But the position that I take is the position that I am in. Not taking a position and something else. I don't jump on the fence. Whatever I see comes from my heart. Grenada is a sovereign country. Grenada adheres to the laws of the United Nations. I don't care about any hegemony, and I don't care about the United States and the Monroe Doctrine that says you have influence over the whole Western Hemisphere and all of this garbage. The United States has been involved for ages in overthrowing governments. Allende in Chile in 1973 was election. He was elected by the people as they killed him as president. You understand? Look at Israel gone bomb up Iran. Israel has nuclear weapons. Just a lot of injustice. Now today you want to come and use us against the people of Venezuela. What have the people of Venezuela done? This is a sister nation. These are the people who gave us an agreement for oil that makes gasoline and so on much cheaper in Grenada. These are the people who give us the loan housing development. These are the people who sent doctors to us. These are the people who have helped us. The United States came to Grenada in 1983 and they have not left a cardboard box in Grenada. They not even leave a cardboard. And the United States use you and finish with you. They're going to finish with Ukraine just now. They use them. They try to destroy Russia through Ukraine. And now Ukraine is finishing. They're fighting to do something else down there. It's a long story. I will not get into the details of that. But the point is that the same airport that the United States said was a military base. They were just digging some drains, they blow it up and say it was a military base. Today they want to make it a military base. This is what they're doing here. Venezuela is 90 miles from Grenada. You put radar equipment at our airport, we become a target immediately. Does the United States care about any amount of us in Grenada that dies? When Venezuela started pointing missiles to us, Venezuela missiles, we cannot have this foolishness here. I feel very strongly about it. We cannot have no imperialists and no imperial power deciding our future. We are small, but we are a proud people, and we must remain that, and we must protect our sovereignty. And I've expressed how I feel about that. I like Deacon. Deacon grew up in the village at my church, Tabor, little village just down the road. And I like him. I think he's trying his best. Give him a chance. But if he decides to let the United States come, I'm going to make my voice be louder than ever. Because the United States has no right coming in Grenada and putting us in the confusion. They want to, they say what? Sandfly mustn't come in around soon dance. You understand? Venezuela is a country bigger than Europe, bigger than France, bigger than France put together with Italy, put together with Germany and a few other European countries. These are big boys, and Venezuela is small to the United States. We should be advocating that the Caribbean be remained a zone of peace. Why do we want big powers to come and make their play here and kill us out and finish with us? And they walk away. They walk away. So I'm very, very strong against that. Yeah.
Yes, and you would have observed that, I guess, because you made the point about being targeted.
Yeah.
That even in Gaza,
yeah,
whenever the Israelis,
yeah,
they bomb,
yeah,
and they did the same thing in Lebanon,
yeah,
also,
yeah,
they bomb
Syria.
Hospitals, they
Yeah.
bomb,
Yeah.
they bomb
whole blocks of innocent people to get one man.
and they always say they
Yeah.
always claim that
Yeah.
Hamas
Yeah.
or Hezbollah
Yeah.
were using those locations
Yes. To hide.
as to hide,
That's where they are.
as using them
That's where they are.
using them to store military weapons,
Yeah.
military assets,
Yeah.
and that's what they are going after. So it's
Yeah.
besides the politics of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
just that
Yes.
is frightening.
Yes. Of
Because
course.
once you have
Yeah.
that kind of equipment there, you
Mhm.
make yourself a target.
Of course. You are in fact.
Yes, yes. And some people consider, a legitimate target.
It's a legitimate target because if we are making ourselves a radio station, you think they would not have military equipment here too? Real serious military equipment here as well.
But it's military grade radar, and then the other things will come with it.
Other things will come. Other things will come. Marines will come. Many others.
What's your position on these your reparations?
It's something I have not delved into very much, but I advocate it very strongly. We have had reparations around the world. I mean, we have had 400 years of slavery. 400 years of slavery. 400 years of the dehumanization of our people. The killing of our people. I mean, when you revisit the punishment that was done to slaves, I mean, just cruel. You were tied in a cart and just driven along the road and let your head just bump on the road until you die. That was the kind of punishment they gave you if you decided that you no longer want to be a slave, if you ran away or something. They will tie two animals going in opposite direction, one leg, the next one, the next leg, and tear your body apart. And these are a people, the productivity of people for 400 years that you have taken from us. And that's why we are so underdeveloped. You know, you have created slavery in the Caribbean is like no other slavery before, because you read a slavery in the Bible and slavery in Europe and so on. You have slaves living in the human society, part and parcel of the human society. Slaves had rights. Slaves can be compensated bad treatment by their masters, and they can take their master to court and so on. Our slavery was a society that was constructed just to enrich England and France and all of those countries. And could you imagine that, this is what they do to us? And they got enriched. And all the big, nice churches, beautiful churches, and so on, were built by slave labor. It was the returns from slavery. That's why they can't let the church out. Why we can't talk about injustice? Listen, if we do not talk about the wrongs of our society, we are inevitably going to continue to walk in that same path.
Yeah, so you're making a distinction between chattel slavery, which is what all people experience, and other forms of slavery, because they were still recognized as human beings.
Yeah, right.
Chattel slavery.
Yeah, right. You were a slave. You were like a spear or a fork, used and thrown away when you thought that you weren't good enough for use.
Right. So to come back to Gaza, tell us about this song Gaza.
I don't know, boy. I've been using all that clean out stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to allow me to drink some water again.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, understood. So Bentley, I was just about to ask about Gaza. So if you can just once again just play one of the verses from that song.
Yes, my robe was always spotless and white as I spoke of love and peace. But how could I sleep peacefully at night when genocide would not cease? Tried to silence me cause I spoke the truth. Them say that I lost my way, but I see Christ in the face of the youth. The IDF kill each day. When the church would not take a firm stance, I will preach, I will preach. Though they tell me that's just defiance, I will preach, I will preach. I'm taking affirmative action, I go preach, I go preach. Otherwise hell will be my portion, I will preach, I will preach. Oh Gaza, oh Gaza. while they choke mankind. Gaza run me mind, while leaders them dumb and morally blind. Gaza run me mind, as they mow down Gaza youths all the time. Gaza run me mind, I can stay silent like those without spine. Gaza run me mind.
Yes, so I was just asking you to tell us about the song. But the motivation behind the song is clear. But if you could just tell us about its production and
in June I was in the States. I was looking for somebody to write for me. I believe I could write for myself. I've written before, but life is just so busy these days. You don't get time and to do the writing and to do the reflection. And I also felt I know I'm not the best of writers. There are great writers. So let me get somebody to write for me. And I approached it first person. And they were literally angry that I came to them at that late hour, because at that time I was thinking about participating in a bigger show.
Okay.
And I called Scholar, who we are acquainted. They've been on culture, whatever they have. Sometimes, we have encountered each other in different ways. And he told me, send him the material. I sent him the material. I think within 7 days he sent me the song. But I just didn't get time to cram it and run it and so on. But that song is an exact replication, an exact expression of how I feel. I believe that I know that it was a great moment of inspiration, not just on the part of me giving him the material, but he's writing, because how right Scholar wrote the song. He wrote the song giving expression to exactly what I feel. So the chorus keep Gaza on my mind, Gaza on my mind, Gaza is on my mind. It's just exactly what I wanted to say. So I feel very strongly. And he talks about in the beginning, mother searching for
Robin for a child.
Robin for a child.
And this is the fifth.
She can't even weep again.
And this is the fifth child.
This is the fifth child. No, this is what I know about what has gone into Gaza. You're talking about people who have lost 120 persons, members of the family. Now, these are traditional families. They're like how we used to grow up. Your nana and your parent and your uncle. They introduce you to everybody, and you know everybody in the family. And these are families that remain like that. And so people actually know. They know members. Gaza Strip is just a little bigger than Grenada, and people walk up and down the Gaza Strip. These people can't travel. There is no airport. They can't leave the place. They can't look for greener pastures. The youths can't, And then you talk about the youths having no hope, They're trying, but it's like you feed on dust. You have since 2006 when Hamas won the election, they went on Israel started to limit the food for Gaza and the nutrients for Gaza. So they have counted the people and know how much people, and they brought them to just a close starvation diet. And babies cannot get baby formula. Chocolate, basic things that people would want and like. They would doctors going to walk into Gaza and they would put in their bag some medication, some stuff for children, and they would just take it from them. People, we're talking about, they're talking about as many as 400,000 people killed, not just from the violence itself and the bombing and the shooting, but from deprivation. People cancer, they need the cancer medicine, they need the dialysis. People are just dying from deprivation and starvation. In fact, they actually implemented starvation into Gaza. And the man talk about the song talks about those who are leaders who are morally blind. And he talks about leaders with a blood-stained hand. When I performed the tune, I had my hand stained in coloring for blood. I mean, this is what you have. You have Metz in Germany. You have not Sarkozy, the guy in France. You have the one in England. These are these countries that pretend to be the moral measure of the world. They are the ones who are engaged in the starvation and the giving of the weapons. So the tune really, really does express what I deeply feel, or what the Gaza experiences, not just what I feel, or what the Gaza, he talks about what I feel too, but he expresses the facts. I mean, I didn't give him a lot of facts, but the way he has put it is really a masterpiece, and I feel very, very happy about it. And the tune, I believe, in time will become international.
Yeah,
not for my sake, I don't care about me boasting. No. This is a product for the people of Gaza.
Yeah, someone said to me that it fits, and I think I in the promo for the program, it can fit straight into the book of Lamentations.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the cry of people, and of course, which really tells us that all of those things have their place.
Yeah, sure.
The lament, the advocacy, the struggle, the diplomacy, all of those things have their place in seeking a solution to this human tragedy that is taking place, the genocide that is taking place.
You know, I think, for example, I mean, as I said, the last 8 months I've been doing articles in the papers, and maybe the tune is even more effective than all of those almost 40 articles that I've done.
Yes,
yes. Because we Canadians, we don't read much, and so on and so forth. You see a long article, you feel threatened by it, you bother to read. So it gives the same expression. You know, I mean, some poor people, and I feel really empathetic towards them. People say, oh, but the man wants to eat and want to go out already, and he can't sing this thing again. Well, he finished now. And he said that. I mean, I feel sorry for them, because he's singing calypso like he's singing something bad. I remember in the 1970s, a priest called Father Gerard, a Jamaican priest, very dynamic. The man came to Tivoli Church with some fellas, guitar almost reaching the ceiling, you know. And when they sang calypso and thing, people were scandalized, especially older folk. I remember drums coming into the church was a big deal. It was only the organ, and you shouldn't play guitar, and you shouldn't play drums, and you shouldn't play trap set. All of that is gone.
And the steel band also.
And the steel band, you know, the steel band, yeah. So, you know, the calypso is one of the form of singing, you know, and that is our creation. You talk about the steel band. The steel band is the only original instrument created since the beginning of the 21st century and the 20th century and the 21st century. In other words, every other instrument was created before that was an improvisation of some instrument already there. And 4 of the 5 men who were involved in the creation of the steel band were Grenadians in Trinidad, living in Trinidad. I mean, that's phenomenal. This is huge for us, and we don't learn. We are taught not to appreciate our culture. Israel was so strong on its culture. That's why it continues, and it wrote it down as well. It wrote it down, so the culture remains. You know, when Antiochus in the 2nd century BC tried to get the Maccabean brothers to eat meat, they did not to eat pork on the altar sacrificed on the altar. They did not consume it because the culture tells them we do not eat pork. And once you change your culture, your God is gone. We don't even really know what our God is. You know, we've been told that African spirituality is so bad. And African spirituality is all about obeah. But we are not being told that the idea of the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, came from Africa and came from Egypt and came from Isis. We are not even told that the idea of the Madonna, the Mary with the baby and the this, that, and that is huge around religious culture in the world, came from Africa just the same. So it's really sad. We don't engage with our culture, and we think, well, ho, 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 ho. Singing like that is fine. We're singing whatever pop. What do you call it? The one that is singing in Italy again. I forget it. Oh my God. Always. Yeah, but we do not appreciate our own,
Okay. Is there any, and I didn't discuss this with you before, but
Yeah.
is there any prospect of reconciliation for Nigeria and the institution in Grenada now? So that we'll see you.
Totally
We'll see you back on the altar
totally
among the
open to
people.
reconciliation. But I think with God all things are possible. But institutional people have their program, and they have the program. They can't see that people. They can't just say, Martin Luther in the 15th century, 1590s, I think it was, he plastered 95 theses on the church. He was an Augustinian monk. The man had no intention to leave, but they're about to kill him. You understand? They're about to kill him. Some princes saved his life. The man didn't want to leave the Catholic Church. The man was just saying some things like indulgences are wrong, And if I would say, I would guess, if I was living in the time of Martin Luther, what I said, they either would have put me in an asylum, a mental institution, and say that I'm mad, or they would have executed me along. And that's what happened. St. John of the Cross, who lived around, I think, the 16th century too, don't remember exactly now, I think around the 16th century, St. John of the Cross was put in jail for many years. He is the foremost mystic of the church, and I have been reading him for 40 years now. The foremost mystic was thrown in prison because some politics between his order and so on and so forth, and they didn't like what he said in prison. So the Catholic Church had the power to throw you in prison and throw away the key, or execute you, or do whatever, or burn you at the stake. They had the power to do that. So if I was living those days, I'd gone a long time. But just today, they can put down a regulation and say that I must go to a rehab in Canada, that I must do a psychiatric test. So in other words, I'm mad. I'm mad. You're even subject to that stupidness. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't go budge neither. I've been getting letters from the big man telling me when I do anything, or they give me last chance. Whatever you want to do, what you want to do. I'm fine. As I say, take your pulpit away. Mine I will find. God has many pulpits there for us, waiting for us. God ain't gonna stop our work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you put me in this little issue, or I'm in this little issue, and I am here. But you open a bigger world to me. You don't know what you're doing, So yeah. So I am prepared, but I said the reality as well. That it may never be, As a matter of fact, he been going around telling people that that the Pope Rome has asked him to hasten the process of my laicization, making me a lay apostle. Well, he probably is doing that to trick me and to frighten me. Just joking, you can't frighten me. It's just impossible. I will not be afraid. God is my Lord. I will not be afraid, And I don't even believe that is true because I don't know. That is if Rome know my name. And Rome trying to hasten the process. He is about to leave Grenada. So he wants to make sure when he leave, I could never come back. So he ought to kill me dead. Take your pulpit away, mine I will find.
Well, I think there's a line that's not in the song, right?
Yeah, that's the line. Yeah.
Yes. Gerard Gordon Alexis says, Father Paul, we stand with you. You're still our priest.
Oh, I know Darren is from my parish.
Okay.
You know the big joke? When the so-called investigation took place, Gabriel Maze is a priest, is a bishop I know, and I knew him before he was a bishop, long before he was a bishop. We all went around the garden together doing theological conferences. And I'm not boasting. When I present a paper, my paper was the talk of the conference. You know. But anyhow, he stayed in St. Lucia, where he's now Archbishop, stayed there and announced to the world that he's supporting the bishop. Right? He's never asked me the story. He never asked my story. The province of Castries, local priest, you know, all those fellows who I went to conferences for years. I've not been going for a long time now, maybe 15 years. But they all voted, yeah, the man here in Greenville is right, he's right. None of them have asked me the story. One of them who was badly treated by a bishop, and he has been reinstated. Badly. Yeah, I know the story inside out. That man called me as a friend the last time he talked about because the church castrates you. It makes you less than a man. You cannot stand and speak your heart. You speak your heart, you will be touched. You understand? So anyhow, the bishop announced there. And just when I was about to go on my campaign to get rid of the warning, because I was going to go on an online campaign, I'm sure I was going to get it. I'm still sure. I'm still convinced that would have been the end of his time here. Anyhow, he called me in the morning and said, Jerry, you know, there's some reconciliation. I'm coming to Grenada. This, that, the other. I hold back the campaign and so on. You know what he did? He set up a forum in my church. My church people did not know until the morning. And they know through long story. They did not know. Real people in the church. And the people who knew, or the one or two who opposed me, and I never even knew they opposed me in the church. They even knew. But anyhow, the church, they came out and they crushed them with fire. Tell them what it is. Then he set up a forum in St. George's, where I worked in my years, 2.5 years leading up to the priesthood. I never said a mass. The people in St. George's don't know me, but that's where you set up a forum. And one person say, I gave my lecturers hell in the seminary. But it's from the truth. And that's what you write in black and white as evidence against me today. That I gave my lectures. I was loved by my lecturers. I was thrown out of the seminary in 1989 for standing up for what I believe is right and believe it be right or today. The biblical scholar of the seminary, Dr. Everett Johnson, Sister Katrina, who was the psychologist, the one doing the psychological classes, psychology classes, and pastoral counseling. These people cried tears. The seminary shut down for a day, fellows who were black and white. I was a leader in the seminary. The former rector told me, Gerard Paul, he called me in his office one day. He said, Jerry, you young, you just come here, but you're not a follower. I was exemplary. 10 years after leaving the seminary, I went in seminary and talking to the guys and them on the corridor. One of them guys get to know who I am and they shock. 10 years afterwards, my name was being called as an exemplary student. I wasn't even aware of it. You understand? But here, you bishop, writing that and white, because somebody in St. George's said that. People who don't know anything about my history. You know, so those are small things. I don't know.
Because of my training, I must ask you, because you revealed it. Tell us about this 1989, which you now referred to.
Being thrown out of seminary?
Yes. I don't know if you care to tell us.
Well, I during let me try to make the story short. During our summer holidays, there are 12 weeks. 6 weeks we're supposed to work with a priest, right? And the next 6 weeks is mine. So I would always work with a priest, and the next 6 weeks I go in the States. And I would always go with my construction work, making a few dollars. When it came to the end of it, the priest was very conservative, which I think he still is. And he said to me, he's still alive, and we are very, very good friends. There's hardly a day, a week that passes that he don't send me this little good morning thing, this little postcard that says something. So he said to me, I've never become a priest, I have my own way and all. But I just laughed because who way you want me to have? There's 7-point-something billion people in that, and they are all manifestation of God in their own right. So what do you say? Pope, he told me I have to make friends with the second man, and they have to vote when time comes and things like that. I don't become like that. If I marry the priesthood, I become a priest. And I've always said to them that, the church has ordained me because it's God's will. It's not necessarily because the church's will, and not necessarily because of the church's discernment. So I went to the States and I came back, and Uncle Sidney Charles, the bishop at the time, come out with a 21-point plan. For me, really it was for me, because the priest gave him a very negative report on me. I went up to the countryside. I was bored. There was nothing for me to do. Nothing planned for me. So I go up and play football. I said, Father, son, so I'm going to play football this afternoon. And he tell me things like I'm supposed to ask him if I could go and play football. I just had to laugh. You understand? I told the bishop that subsequently, and I told the bishop, listen, if I was a secular man, I would have had my minister come begging me for donations for the church. Why you want to treat me like a child? You understand? I would not accept it. So anyhow, the 21, so I'm going on the 21 points, and I'm saying, Uncle Sid, I call him uncle. I don't call nobody my Lord. Jesus Christ is my only Lord. I call nobody my Lord. I call a man bishop. It's a feudal title. My Lord is a feudal title. Bishop is a feudal title too. But I'll take that one. But my Lord and Jesus Christ is my only Lord. Don't give me no other Lord. No other person is my Lord. So I'm going down the thing, and I say, Uncle Sid, Uncle Sid used to call him Uncle Sid. Mark and I used to call him Uncle Sid. Mark Hicks. So I'm going on. I say, no, that one. No. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. No. When I finished, so I said, well, Uncle Sid, I can't sign that yet because I don't agree so many points. He told me to go back to the seminary. Went back to the seminary. He said that when he comes for the bishop's meeting, he will chat with us. It was two of us, and because we had written him a very strong letter, because it's like we are back there and a shadow hanging over our heads. We don't know what's going on, and we're not speaking. So he said he was going to speak to us. That same year, the former rector, Father Henry Charles, his tenure was discontinued. Not really discontinued, it was not renewed. And he was loved by seminarians. Seminarians was very, very hot. I had gone back with a broken leg from motorbike and suffered pulmonary embolism. They actually put me in Ward 2 at the hospital. And I learned from the doctor that when they put you in Ward 2, they don't expect you to come back alive. Because I saw 14 people died in 12 days. Just in the corner of that ward, the wards are very big in Trinidad. I saw 14 people die. And many more would have died in that particular ward. Anyhow. So I wrote a very strong letter to the bishops of the Caribbean when they came, and I had a brief meeting. Fellas went down to chaplaincy where the bishop was having the meeting and protested and so on. But I made a mistake and I signed twice on Sydney's thing, because all that was done in a hustle, I presented what in fact was in the letter, and fellows signed and so on. We went down there and protested. I couldn't go myself. My foot was in cast. Traveling from me was difficult and so on. So that was that. And Sydney said he was physically and psychologically incapable of meeting with us. So, that struck us very hard. I think we wrote him again. I don't remember. But the long and short is that he called the bishop, John Menz, who was in charge of the seminary, to Grenada. And Bishop Menz keep telling me, boy, make Jerry make an apology. I say, Bishop Menz, I don't have a problem making an apology if it's wrong, but I haven't done anything wrong. And I can't, if you show me what I do wrong, I will make the apology. But he came to Grenada for one day, he came back, and we found out that we were dismissed. The day we were leaving, the seminary was shut down. There were no classes for us, green and band, red, black and band. And fellas came to all the airport 4 o'clock in the morning, everybody, and shouting power sign to us. We walk out, 2 little spriggy legs us. Nobody really recognized us. What going on there, you know? Anyhow, we were sent to Grenada, and we spent, he saw, first of all, the other guy, and then he saw me a day afterwards, obviously a tactic of divide and rule, and he saw me the next day, and he spoke for 10 minutes, and he told me I have 5 minutes to speak. Well, the main thing ended up 2.5 hours, because I said to him, let me tell you something, you want to tell the Brazilian people after spending all the money, you want to tell them why. He say you're going to say bye, Bishop. He say you're going to announce in the cathedral that we are withdraw as part of normal procedure. Tell him what I'm going to tell people, you lie. You don't know who I am. I was a journalist of RFG, well, you know, Sydney for the revolution ahead. 24 hours after he sent us back here. Okay. So that was the story.
Okay. And then you completed your seminary.
I completed my seminary.
You just go around and let us know. Okay, yes. Okay, interesting. And I know, again, as you mentioned, the accident, you were in an accident not so long ago.
Oh, yeah, another one again. Somebody in Grenada had the hand in it. Somebody had in the church. I know that. And I told him that, and I said I would not speak to you again.
Okay.
I blanked him off on my phone. I blocked him. The young people see you block him. And I was in, you know.
Okay, let me see if there's any other comment. I'm not seeing any other. So if we can just get the song Gaza one more time, because somebody wrote to somebody says to me,
when you find Gaza, I had to go again, you know. Excuse me, my
yes.
The people of Gaza are suffering like no other. We have seen in our lifetime, my dear friends. They are far away, but we have hard, difficult times in Grenada. Hurricane and all sorts of things, my dear friends. Let us remember how the world came to our help. It is our time to make a voice for them. I hear in the cries from a landing chain, where sorrow darkens the sun, as the Israelites drop a bomb again that cut Palestinians down. A mother searching through a rubble pile, no longer able to weep, hoping to discover her buried child. She's not the first, she's the fifth. While the world just looks on in silence, I go preach in the face of all this violence. I go preach. Can't pretend I cannot hear the cry. I go preach. I don't want God to watch me, but I go preach. Oh Gaza, land of anguish, prison of pain. Your taste fall hot down torrential rain. Oh Gaza, and the world look away, turn off the sound, while Zion drum beat and missiles bang. Oh Gaza, cannot just pretend everything is fine. Gaza run me mind, for the Holy Trinity just made the sign. Gaza run me mind, they want me just feed people with horse and wine. No, Gaza run me mind, man tell them to kiss where the sun don't shine. Gaza run me mind.
Yes. So yes, someone was saying that it is a modern-day psalm. That's how someone described it. Yes. So based on what you said tonight, you will be participating in the Calypso competition next year.
Everybody is asking that.
Everyone asking that.
There is no guarantee, you know. The times will determine.
The
Lord will speak to my heart, because I'm a man. I'm not boasting. I'm a man steeped in prayer, and I firmly believe in the power of God, and that God controls every bit of our lives, and it's the best thing to be in His hands. It's the best thing that ever happens to anyone, to be able to submit to God's will and to be themselves, the best of yourself. And if you do that, I don't think you can go wrong.
Yes. So we are about to end, but I just want one.
They asked me nothing about my hair and my earring.
Yes,
I
did mention
did?
it. I did mention
I
it.
didn't respond.
And you didn't respond.
Okay.
I think you said it was just part of the culture.
No, well, yeah, but yes, but I always wanted to grow my hair. I always liked the locks,
Okay.
I thought I would see trouble to grow my hair. My hair is only going on 8 months, and
Okay.
I have 8 inches already, so I'm doing well.
Okay.
So I always wanted to grow on, and somehow I had a little kinky thing.
Okay.
And every time he cut it in pieces and I bust it. So I just decided to let it grow, and I'm enjoying that. Also, I've been wearing earrings since I was 15 years. In SAS, I was the only person with an earring.
That was what year?
That would have been 19. I'm 162 and 8 and 7.
Was 77?
Yeah, I was wearing earrings since then. And but every time my hair would get blocked up on it, I'll just blank it, And then during the years that it priesthood, maybe people not have seen it. But if you notice good, you realize that my hair was always bored, And I rebowed my hair some time ago, while before I was suspended.
Okay.
Probably that was not noticed, but now it's being talked about. It doesn't really matter. You know what Pope Francis said? Pope Francis said there's nothing wrong with piercings and tattoos.
Okay.
Tattoos was the one I was afraid of, but I've been planning to do one of my mother and the Blessed Virgin Mary in some part of my body along them. I haven't gone to do it yet. Francis, I was impressed when Francis said it's very deep cultural stuff in African, in Indian society, and in basically all societies, So just think about it. You see, people judge people on the outside. That's what we do. Yes, man. If I dressed up in that, I'm a good person. So I guess I'm a bad one. Because we look on the outside. We don't.
You said it's just a matter of embracing our culture.
Yes.
So again, I just want to recognize those who assist us in carrying this program week in, week out. Namely, Gel Professional Solutions, Gem FM carried this program on FM radio out in Canada, and also Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, GTAO. So, Father Jerry, just to end, I just want you to any closing comments. Just so great having you here in this conversation. I learned a lot, both about you and generally, and it was very impactful. But you, I give you the last word.
What can I say? Do you have anything in particular you want me to talk about?
No,
it was a pleasure speaking here and expressing myself. I don't think I have had the opportunity to speak in that way, that kind of wide-ranging, long interview of 2 hours. I was spoken on the voice, and then sometimes in the midst of controversy. I am a person who normally speak quite emotionally, so people tend to think I'm angry or I have resentment in me or anything like that. But my emotions are strongly related to the facts and the realities of life that I deeply believe in and that I live for. I live for justice. I don't joke when it comes to justice. I am the managing director of Spice and Imaging Center, and anybody who speaks the truth about me will tell you that I don't joke for justice. A supervisor don't get to crush the small person, the cleaner. No, I don't joke with that. I don't joke on those matters. Justice is very, 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 very important in my life. I was just so happy to sit with you. We have known each other 30 years ago or more than 30 years ago, and to be able to express, some of my deep sentiments and thoughts and positions in life. My pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me on the program.
Okay, thank you very much, Father Paul. It was our pleasure, and we at Legalize really want to thank you, and we'll continue doing what we do week in, week out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you for all those who viewed the program and those who will view it in the coming days, weeks, months. Thank you so much, and we hope we have at least serve the purpose. Thank you and good night.